So there you go. I think we're almost done. In fact, yes, I think we are. There is just one thing to finish on, and unfortunately I've got to finish on a sad note, unfortunately, but this is the way things are going in 2024. But obviously it hasn't missed my attention of what is actually happening in the world right now. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are very anxious right now. I've mentioned this several times before in streams and what have you, and I do suffer from acute anxiety. So, you know, what's happening in the world right now obviously is, you know, affecting me as well as it's affecting everybody else. And I can't really ignore what is going on around the world, because at the moment things are just, they're not looking good at all. I have to admit, they're just not looking good at all. I'm absolutely appalled at the I'm going to call them gutter press right now. The gutter press, and lots of them are on YouTube as well. I spent about an hour this morning telling YouTube not to keep recommending me these channels, because they're just absolute gutter reporting. It really is. It's just ridiculous. And the way these channels are reporting is that tomorrow there could be a nuclear war on Friday, and then Saturday we will just all be, you know, returning to our lives. That is just absolutely ridiculous. That anybody would even suggest something as casually as a nuclear war would be something that happens and then we just get back to normality. That is not going to happen. There is no such thing as a nuclear war. Within 22 minutes of anyone launching any nuclear missiles, that is the end of mankind. So for any gutter press to even use this to get views, clicks or whatever, it's just unbelievable to me. Absolutely unbelievable. And even the thought of mentioning nuclear war as like a soundbite is just incredible. Just absolutely incredible. As I say, if a nuclear war happened, we would not all be getting back to our lives the next day, the next week, the next year, the next century. 12 years after a nuclear war, there will be 12 million people left on the planet Earth. Those 12 million people will be in the depths of despair. Most of them in a terrible condition, physically, health-wise, living in the remains of what is left of our planet, what is left of the ground that's been decimated by nuclear weapons. So how people can just use this casually is just unbelievable. And I would suggest anyone out there to basically, if you see this in the news, to just block these channels completely. Because far from helping the situation, all they are doing is causing more and more anxiety to the people that are out there. And it's not helping anyone whatsoever, especially, you know, if you're watching the news and you're fearing about what's going to happen in the future. Now, I can't say what's going to happen in the future. I would say, I think I'm hoping that somewhere down the line, people in authority, I can't say too much else because I'm on YouTube, people in authority will come to their senses and think, what the hell are we doing? Because ever since, I don't know, COVID came along, 2020, although it's been brewing before that, but 2020, the whole world has just become a very angry, embittered place. And it's just not the world that I remember from just going back to 2019, to be honest. It's just completely changed. Mankind just seems to be hell-bent on destruction. And killing people now is as normal as eating your cornflakes in the morning. That's how society has now become. Killing people is just as normal as eating your cornflakes in the morning. And that's just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I would just say to anybody out there, and I expect there's quite a few people who are anxious right now, and I'm one of them. The problem is, whatever happens, there's nothing we can do about it. Absolutely nothing. It's out of our control. This is all controlled by the high-ups in governments and stuff like that. There's nothing we as an ordinary person can do about it. So if the worst happens, the worst happens, and that's it. But I would just say to anybody out there who is anxious, please try to stay off the news. That's the one thing I would say. Try and just stay. And YouTube seems to be especially bad right now. And just take each day as it comes. Please just don't worry about what's happening in the wider world. Keep an eye on it, obviously, but don't have it in the forefront of your mind, constantly thinking about it. Because if that happens, you will drive yourself nuts. You really will. So just get on with your day, and just all of us can do is just wait and see what happens. And I'm hoping that somewhere down the line, someone will come to their senses and resolve the situation. Not just the situation in Ukraine and Russia, but the situation everywhere in the world. Because as I say, the world right now is such an angry place. It really is. It's just ridiculous. And a lot of it is fueled, unfortunately, by social media. Social media is fueling a lot of this. And unfortunately, some time down the line, this could cause a mistake, an escalation, purely based on something that was said or done on social media. And that's hopefully something that will never happen. But anyway, to anybody out there who is right now anxious and worried for their futures, and I understand completely, because I'm exactly the same. I would say just carry on day-to-day basis, and then just see what happens in the future. Try and find something that you used to enjoy to do, whether it's an old computer game that you used to play when you were a kid, anything like that, anything that brings back good memories. Just try and do that, and just, it does help. It really does help to get you, through the day, and then we'll go from there. But I'm just very gobsmacked at the way the world is in 2024. I don't think it's ever been this bad for decades. And someone said we're not far off the same situation we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis, which, if anyone didn't know, they were 24 minutes away from launching nuclear weapons. That's how close we came to nuclear annihilation in 1962, that was. So, you know, but if you look at it also from the other point of view, back in the 80s when I was growing up, you had President Gorbachev and you had Ronald Reagan, and practically every single day Gorbachev was threatening to launch nuclear missiles at America. That was the essence of the Cold War. That was what he did, you know. He was always threatening America, and I remember that growing up all the way through the 80s. It was constant. I mean, you know, the popular culture of the day, they made music videos about stuff like that. If anyone remembers, Frankie Goes to Hollywood with two tribes go to war, and they had that video where it was Ronald Reagan against Gorbachev fighting in a boxing ring. So that kind of thing isn't new. That kind of thing isn't new. It's been going on for a very, very long time. But I just hope that at some point someone's going to see sense and back down and realise that, you know, the reasons they thought that they were doing what they were doing was not correct. Wasn't correct. They may have thought it was. In their head they may have thought it was, but it wasn't. Just like to say, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.